Picture this: a man living an ordinary life with an extraordinary mirror. Our protagonist, an average Joe, lived a life as plain as a blank canvas. His routine, predictable, like clockwork. Every morning, after the dawn breaks, he would stand before his mirror, staring into his own reflection. This mirror, however, was no ordinary-looking glass. It was a relic, an heirloom passed down, imbued with a history as old as time itself. A picturesque frame encased the shimmering surface, a stark contrast to the man's monotonous life. In the mirror, he saw himself, day in and day out, his reflection faithfully mimicking his every move. But as the days turned into weeks, a subtle shift began to occur. The man in the mirror seemed different, his eyes a shade darker, his smile a touch sinister. But as days passed, the man noticed something odd. His reflection was changing. As the sun rose each day, so did the man's curiosity and fear. His reflection was morphing, growing more unfamiliar by the day. The man, once a picture of normalcy, now bore witness to an unsettling transformation. His mirror, once a simple tool of vanity, became a portal to a reality that was both fascinating and terrifying. The man's reflection started to exhibit peculiar traits, strange behaviors that he himself did not possess. His eyes, usually a warm hazel, shone with an icy blue hue in the mirror. His smile, always charming and friendly, twisted into a sinister grin within the reflective glass. His reflection stood still when he moved, stared when he looked away. It was as if the mirror held a separate entity, a doppelganger existing in a parallel universe. A sense of dread began to creep over the man. He was no longer looking at himself, but at a stranger wearing his face. The changes were subtle at first, a flicker of movement in the corner of his eye, a slight shift in posture. But day by day, the transformation became more pronounced, the changes more disconcerting. His reflection started to display a grotesque caricature of himself, a distorted version that seemed to revel in his growing horror. His once familiar features were now alien, his mirror image a horrific creature that bore his likeness but nothing of his humanity. With each passing day, the mirror revealed a reflection that was less of him and more of something or someone else. The final day arrived. The man stood before the mirror, staring into the eyes of a stranger. His heart pounded in his chest like a drum, echoing the terror coursing through his veins. He could hardly recognize the figure staring back at him. Eyes that once held familiarity, now only held malice, a stark contrast to the man's own fear-stricken gaze. A chill ran down his spine as he met the cold gaze of his reflection. It was a face he had seen every day, a face that was his, and yet it wasn't. The reflection, now a distorted version of himself, was an eerie caricature of the man he once was. His own face, twisted and warped into a nightmarish visage, was a sight that sent shivers of dread coursing through him. The reflection, once a harmless duplicate, now bore an unsettling grin that stretched too wide, teeth glinting in the harsh light. The sinister smile was a chilling sight to behold, a grim reminder of the man's impending doom. The reflection's eyes gleamed with a malicious intent that made the man's blood run cold. His heart pounded louder, the deafening sound drowning out all other noise. His breath hitched, his eyes widened in pure terror as he realized the horrifying truth. And then, in the blink of an eye, the reflection lunged, and the man was no more. The mirror now stood silent, reflecting an empty room. But wait, is that really an empty room? As we've journeyed through this chilling tale, we've witnessed the inexplicable transformation of a man and his reflection. Day by day, the mirror bore witness to a horrifying metamorphosis, until the reflection took on a life of its own. The man, once vibrant and full of life, found himself trapped in a spectral existence, his essence consumed by the mirror. The reflection, once a mere duplicate, now commands the realm it once shared with the man. The mirror's surface, once a plane of reality, has become the chilling frontier between life and a spectral existence. The room may seem empty, but a sinister presence lurks within the mirror, a chilling reminder of the man's gruesome fate. The silence that now engulfs the room is the eerie calm after a storm, the dreadful tranquility of the reflection's victory. In the end, It was not the man who stared into the mirror, but the mirror that stared back into the man.